blessing and I
Yes.
guess it's a blessing because it's like we're all doing this for free, so we're really
Mhm.
doing this because we want to be here, want to do this, want to invest in ourselves, want to invest in others, so thank you for
Yes.
being here, I greatly appreciate that.
No, same here. I see that the efforts that you've been putting into your craft and, we're all trying to find our lane, find our space, but like you said, be supportive. So I appreciate you having me.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Let the audience know, introduce yourself a little bit. Um, talk about your podcast, your purpose, really, I tell everyone to come on here and talk about their trauma, but whatever flows with you, whatever trauma resilience, experiences you had, anything that you are passionate about speaking about, anything you advocate for, just help the girlies out and help them heal.
Oh, thank you. Can you hear me okay? Do I need
Yeah, I hear you
headphones?
yeah, no, yeah, it'll all come into and,
My
also
name is Lauren A. I am I would say Renaissance woman. I feel like I have by trade, I work in healthcare. I am a nurse. Um, Throughout my career, I've been able to find real joy and passion in taking care of people. Honestly, nursing has changed over the years, and it's such a very multifaceted profession, so not only are you taking care of people in a practical way, but you're also doing a lot of mental um, work as well. So, trying to find out what is going on with the patient, trying to make sure that they have what they need so that they can take better care of themselves, So instinctively, I've just been drawn to that kind of purpose. Um, and I feel like that has transcended for me, just like with anyone, you want to make sure that you are fulfilling the different parts of yourself. So, you're not just one thing. We're not a monolith, right? So, just trying to find other areas that bring you joy. And so I kind of gravitated towards the media space at a very
Mm,
young age. And
mhm,
so being able to try to find a medium where I can blend the two, right? Helping
mhm.
people, but also still doing media. So I kind of just delved into this space, especially during the pandemic, where a lot of people did, because they
Yeah.
had time to
Yeah,
figure
we
out
had
who
yeah.
they
Yeah. 'Cause that's where all
what
the
they want to
ideas for me
do.
kept coming in. I was not being obedient to them. I was like, "I have this idea," but I was just there was so much work I had to do internally to even get the idea out into, like you said, just a social space.
Yeah, yeah. Because honestly, I'm not a real in front of the
Yeah, me
scene,
neither.
look at me kind of
Yeah.
person,
Yes.
just naturally, but I
Yeah.
feel like I still want to be able to put out good work. And I'm just learning so much about the space of entertainment, of content, where I can find my legs so that I can provide, actually quality content for my
Yeah.
audience. And also things that make sense to me,
Yeah.
because you can put out things that try to get clickbait this and
Yes.
likes on that, but is it really speaking to you? Is it really, beneficial for the atmosphere, for the community?
Girl,
Um,
yes. This one, I was just in the clubhouse, like one of the chats, one of the guys said, yeah, like you can go viral, but what is your purpose after you go viral? Like
yeah,
that's only short lived, And everybody's like, oh, I got 1,000. Oh, I got two. And it's like, what now? Like you still got to live in your purpose. You still like, does that fulfill you? Or like you said, what we're doing and finding a way to invite helping people and our passions
mhm.
into the social media space. And that's why I tell everyone they come on here, it's so aligned. So again, thank you for sharing that. 'Cause I
Yeah.
want more people to like, yes, like even it's just about starting, whether you're comfortable with being in front. Like every time I have to go and post something, I cringe. I'm like, this is so cringe, but just post and go, and I won't look at it.
Yeah, yeah, because you just gotta get, I guess, used to seeing yourself, first of all,
Yeah.
speak. Like, what do I
Yeah.
sound like? But I think, as you do more, you grow more comfortable, and then you just kind of find what works for you. Because I don't ever want to do things that's inauthentic to me either,
Yeah.
because I just know that that's not good energy. Like, you probably going to burn out a lot sooner. It's just not going to come across right. So you really just kind of want to find what works for you. So I personally would love to eventually um kind of be like an Issa Rae, right? Issa Rae is like my muse when it comes to the media space because she just does it so authentically. She does it
Yes.
so well, and she can be
When you get
behind the
paid for
scenes.
being you, like, just, "Yeah, Imma
Yes.
say this and what? And so what?" And
And
who the
that's
floor is for,
her.
who is not, ignore it, like, yes.
Yes, and
Period, yeah.
also just kind of dip your hands in different pots. Like you could be a
Mhm.
producer on that level, executive producer. You can, now she owns her own coffee shop and like
Yeah.
literally in radio. I love music, so cultivating that. So like just, being dope
Yes,
in
pretty much.
every way you
Yeah.
can.
I was just saying, like, we are going to start when we start seeking certain stuff and start being honest with ourselves with what we really desire, because God already knows that. Our path is already He already knows that. So when we
Mhm.
start really being honest and who He saw us as, when we stop daydreaming these creative ideas and start putting it into action, we're like, no, I can call on being dope. I can call on being fat. I am fashion. I am dope. Like having those
Yes,
affirmations and those strong things to move forward in our purpose. That's why we're here. So I love
that's
that.
why we're here, man. That's why we're here.
So explain a little bit, tell us a little bit about your podcast, Pretty Suited Podcast. I'm loving the encouragement, affirmation. When you were talking about the seasons, I really love when you were like, um, just let winter be winter. 'Cause
Mhm.
that was, like, so on point when I saw that, I was like, "Yeah," because now that it's warming up, I'm getting outside, I'm like, "I'm gonna business plan today, I'm gonna set a time, Imma be intentional," like, just from your post, girl, like, I was like,
Yeah.
"Okay, yeah, like, yes, let's
Well,
do this."
that's good. I'm
Yeah.
glad. I'm glad. And I really would like to, make sure that I put out things like that. Because I felt that when I heard it, I actually was inspired by a sermon.
Mhm.
And, a lot of times we can kind of just try to move out of rhythm and then wonder
Mhm.
why it's not working.
Yeah.
And so I feel like sometimes we need to give ourselves grace for the planning period and not always try to be on go like social
Mhm.
media or whatever the world try to tell us to do. So Pretty Suited came to me during the pandemic, of course, but it's been revamped in a lot of ways in my
Yeah.
mind, and I think that that's also part of the creative process, right? Trying to
Yeah.
figure out what you look like, what are you trying to say. And my main point or my main purpose for this particular podcast is to you know, eh, you have millennial women like myself,
Mhm.
right? I'm not
Like
going to say the
myself,
exact
yeah.
age, but
Yeah, me neither, but we are
but
millennials here.
millennial women, and I
Yes.
think we have such a unique place in this world, be in unique in millennial Black women specifically, or
Yes.
millennial women of color specifically,
Mhm.
because I feel like we have a little bit of like the analog thinking that our parents and grandparents
Yeah.
had,
Yeah.
where we still kind of have a little bit of, whether it's a little conservative or, but then also like, look now, don't
Like
don't test me.
some humble, yeah, like
Yeah, yeah,
some
it's a little bit of
nurturing,
both.
yeah, some nurturing authority, some
Yes, that's
nurturing
a great
authority.
way to put
Yeah,
it. A
yeah, 'cause I
nurturing
was
authority.
I was just talking to my friend about that, like, do when we speak, and we were just talking about authority and how some women do speak with authority, and I was like, "Is it authority, assertiveness, or submission?" And so I was, like, trying to break down, like, the
Mhm,
definitions to that, like, and I when I looked it up, I'm like, "The only she was saying the only authority that we should be really getting is from God." And I'm like, well, if
mhm,
the Spirit is in us, then we should only speak with authority when we're full of the Holy Spirit.
yes,
And the Holy Spirit means a totally different thing to me now than what I was taught. And like
mhm,
really embracing that, hey, this gift from God, this mimic of God in us is
mhm.
to utilize that. That's the biggest power that we can utilize in all the healing and all the things that we do. So I love that you
Absolutely.
said that.
Absolutely, because I feel like when you do get that discernment to hear, is it my voice or is it God's
Yeah.
voice? And then that way you really can speak with authority, because
Mhm.
sometimes if we're just operating off of ego, we could
Yeah.
be saying something that's completely not a part of the
Yeah.
plan. So
Yep.
I've had to learn in my grown up years to,
Mhm.
listen a little bit more and do what feels like it's right versus trying to force square pegs into round holes, right?
Mhm.
And I think that kind of comes with the, like I said, the millennial woman in this space because
Mhm.
we're learning so much about ourselves in this space. We're
Yeah.
like doing a lot of self work. We kind of know what we want, we know what we don't want, or even if we don't know what we don't want, we're figuring it out. We
Yes,
have taken
girl.
the initiative
I have
to
to write that
figure
down.
it
I'm like,
out.
"Yes." That
Yeah.
was beautiful. I love that you said grace, give grace for the planning period. I want that to stick
Mhm,
out to some women. We are doing a lot of self-work when we are coming
mhm.
up and showing up, in our authentic selves for, you guys, the listeners, for the people that we want to attract in our lives and help in our lives, and hopefully this will help someone on their healing journey. So I love that.
Yeah.
Um, and so Pretty Suited, podcast started during the pandemic, and you said it went through like a revamp. What did you revamp that into, in what you are sharing with the world?
Yeah, well, I think it started off kind of like I listen to a lot of podcasts, right? And I mean, that's just majority of my day,
Yeah,
music and podcasts.
and you'll love the
So
Clubhouse.
yes, okay, well, great.
You'll
I
love
will
it,
look
girl.
forward to that. So in that conversations or listening to conversations, and you trying to figure out what you want your show to be about, sometimes you kind of
Mhm,
pick up a little bit of things that's not necessarily you, but it like I'm learning how to produce a show and things like that. So in the
mhm,
beginning, I felt like I kind of had a little bit of like the temperature of just me talking, but then also like what I saw. But I feel like
mhm.
now I'm revamping it into something that it's always been me, but it's more me now. It's more
Yeah.
like, so I feel like my audience is again a millennial, black or brown woman who is going through a lot of career development. Like, what are you trying
Mhm.
to do? Are you trying to be a boss? Are you trying to be a
Yeah.
manager? Are you trying to be an executive? Or are you just trying to get change careers and now
Mm,
you discovering something else that you enjoy? So
mhm.
all the things that kind of I've gone through personally.
Yeah.
And then also too, you could be distinguished and have, career development, but what is your personal life looking like? What is your love life looking like?
Like, while you're giving us advice, are you doing the work? And so
Yeah.
I love that. I love that you are doing the work. That's what I'm like, this is real what we're putting out because it's like lived through lived experience. Also your
Yeah.
professionalism, but your lived experience. And that's
Yeah.
what I was like, yes, I need her as a guest. Like I'm so
Oh,
happy.
great. Yeah. Yeah. Cause we have so many different avenues we're trying to tackle. Like
Yeah.
I have some people in my audience are mothers, some people in my
Yeah.
audience are, single women, some of them are married. So we have so many different hats we're wearing. And I
Yeah.
feel like I would love to be able to just speak to women who, have the same similar experiences as myself or not. And then you can
Yeah.
learn, some new
Yeah.
things or whatever. Cause I feel like that's valuable too. Like you don't
Yeah.
have to look like me or sound like me in order to identify with some of the things that I'm going through
Mhm.
too. So yeah, just kind of just the personal development, wellness, lifestyle,
Mm.
career development, for the millennial professional. So
Yeah, I
that's
love
kind of
that.
like been my thing.
I love that. I love that. I'm so proud of you.
Oh, thank you.
Because
Me
I'm proud of
too.
us, girl. Like, yes.
Yes, I'm about to say I'm proud
Yeah,
of you
I'm
as
proud of
well
us. Like,
because
let's go.
yeah, I see you got the
Because
vibes going in the
thank
back
you.
and you got your
And that's it.
setup.
And
I love
that
it.
yes, and that took through the revamp. I used to be Dear Mama Hi Daddy podcast. And
Mhm.
when I went on that journey of just like let me heal myself to give this advice, I kept that was like the that portion, that season of this podcast, I spilled out a lot of vulnerability about my mother wound, my sexual assault, all the things that I was currently healing from. I would go and just like use the mic as like um my self-talk, like my self-help.
Mhm.
I had no one to really vent to. I had my husband and stuff, but I don't wanna I also felt like I was oversharing to the world, so I wanted a safe space for myself to just get my thoughts out
Yeah.
without feeling crazy.
Yeah,
And
you need
so
that.
yeah, and so I got a lot of validation, a lot of, encouragement that, a lot of people related to my story, and I was like, "No, I just want more women to talk to that are on in the same spaces," and as, like, I kept going and meeting different women, like, the whole like, you really don't know your niche when you start, but you kinda, like, fall into it of, like,
Yes.
just separate, like, the you just start seeing what you're talking about, you actually start actively listening to yourself before other people, and I
Yes.
was like, "Yeah," and it just started growing from there as, like, "Oh, here, this is this," as soon as I start seeking it, God to start putting things, tools, like,
Mhm.
I went through a self-discovery, like, "What is my style? What" and learn, this is my vibe, and I always was scared to be in this vibe because I was made fun of a lot, and it grew an
Mhm.
insecurity that, "Hey, you can be this person, you do not have to, say the things you're speaking on and be a professional," because that
Yeah.
also the people that were in my life before I started weeding them out, it was very discouraging to hear, like, "You're not a therapist, you're not this," and it's like, you don't really a lot of people in our culture, I would say, like, Black, like, elders in my immediate family, think that, like, first of all, they're scared of therapy, but
Yeah.
secondly, they discourage you from it of, like, you don't know what you're talking about, and you don't have I
Mhm.
can't diagnose a person, I can't say, "Oh, you have anxiety. Oh,
Right.
you're bipolar. Oh, you're this or that," but I can list traumas. If you've been cheated on, if you've
Mhm.
experienced someone dying, if your child died, if you've
Yeah.
experienced domestic violence when you're like that, just the basics of what women just are scared to be knowledgeable about. When we start to find the language to all of those, like
Yeah.
compartmentalize all of our trauma, we're like, no, that was abuse. Like, no,
Yeah.
maybe I should separate myself from that. It doesn't seem like a safe environment because I want to talk to God a little more clearer. So,
Yeah, because you can identify emotion. We're human
yes,
beings. So even though I
yes,
can't diagnose you with something, I
yeah.
can identify it. I was disappointed. I was sad. You frightened me, things like that.
In your journey when you revamped, how has that been so far for you and who you're meeting and who and not even meeting, like when you started seeking this journey in your own business and in your podcast and in the what modalities did he put, what people, what tools, what self-care did all of that look the same or did it change as this revamped in your personal life?
It definitely changed because it pushed me out of my comfort zone.
Mhm.
Initially, most of my episodes, I'm only at 23, but I've been doing it for like a year
Good.
and change because
Okay.
I just do it when I feel like I need to do it.
Yeah.
But now that I'm
That's
starting to
self-care.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And instead of it being something that's like, okay, every week I gotta,
Mhm,
and
mhm,
while that can be valuable, because I
mhm.
eventually I might get to that point, and especially now that I've revamped it, just
You will get to
figuring
that
out,
point.
yeah,
I
absolutely.
feel I'm like, God's gonna put you in place to where it's like, "Okay, now you don't have to do this, you have time to do that." Yep.
I will
Yeah,
jump
yeah,
out to
bro.
God's ears, right?
Yeah.
But I'm also now starting to interview. So that wasn't
Oh,
even a thing before because I was like, this is just my space. I'm gonna, but now
girl,
I'm
that's
starting to interview and I'm meeting and interviewing some wonderful, wonderful women that have their own life experiences. They have great, careers and just have a lot of great things to say as far as like from their perspective. I'm gathering some jewels myself, just
yeah.
learning from these women, honestly. So I just hope that that grows as well. Hope to interview men this year, see
Yeah,
different
I
kind of
love
perspective
that.
because while it's a female podcast, like
Yeah, yeah,
quotation,
yeah.
I think that we can learn a lot from men,
Yep.
have a broader conversation with men.
No, I agree.
And because now I'm sure you've recognized that they have some men
That
versus
they
women
had
battle, the sexist
yeah,
thing
and they
going
have
on.
valuable perspectives, but, again, without if you're an unhealed woman, sometimes it comes off to a man as aggressive when they're looking for
Absolutely.
the nurturing, like, we can tell them stuff, but with gentleness, and sometimes we're so full sometimes just full of the spirit, but then sometimes just we're We have that superwoman syndrome where we're just like, "No, I know what I'm talking about, and, like, what you're talking about is
Yeah.
wrong," because you're a man.
Yeah,
You don't know a woman's perspective, but just a man's perspective on a woman is very valuable. It
it
is. When you
is.
find a healthy a man that's on the same journeys as us, I love that, and, it's so relatable because, yeah, when you start having guests again, the first Dear Mama, Hi Daddy, before I relaunched, it was just me. It was just me going through that journey, healing that journey, dissolving all the shame wounds, just really just being impactful in my own life. And right when I changed it, I kid you not, the next day of the Healing Homegirls, I had a guest schedule. I was like, okay, this
Mhm.
is where I'm supposed to be. Like, I'm supposed to
Yeah.
be in these rooms. But I love that because, yeah. So with the clubhouse that I just joined too, great for networking, and you can create your own clubhouse, your own house, and do different topics of what you want to talk about. You can
Mhm.
invite men or women. I have the Healing Homegirls, which is just men. I mean, just women. Just women, but I have the shadow work and journaling prompts that invite men, and I do want to eventually start talking about like their ideas on a submissive woman. We just had a conversation about that on another panel the other day. With I think her name was Sriracha and Stacks, and just follow the like once you follow me, you'll see my friends, follow them and just
Okay.
try to join those rooms. But I would love to do my podcast on there and have you on the panel
Mhm.
if you want to network that way too, and just
Yeah.
yeah, and start a conversation with just I want other guests that have been on here to be on that panel as well.
Mhm.
And so we can all just talk. So I just wanted to before my ADHD makes me forget. I wanted to get out there, like, I
Yeah.
definitely want you on the panel because that's amazing what you're doing, and, like, I kid you not, my, Instagram, I haven't been really consistent on Instagram with the podcast. I had like 180 or so, and now I'm at like 210 to 9, 209, 210 followers. So it helps the networking and get
Yeah.
the right it kind of filters out that like who's for you is for you type
Mhm.
deal. We can get our 10,000. There's like billions of people on the internet. We can get our 10,000, but I think that would like just hearing you speak and then wanting men on, like that's a way to really invite them and get them scheduled. And it happens fast. I already got like five more people from that want to come on that I'm like,
Great.
that's yeah, but that was overwhelming me because I was having I was doing it every week, but I was like, let me just do it once a month, have a guest, and then I'll do a meditation to revamp me and help still heal my inner dialogue, but help other people, and then just do something science based that I've learned with the positive psychology modalities and just, giving advice and talking about, my own experience with trauma and stuff.
Mhm.
So I'm like down, I'm like, I can do one a month. But I told
Yeah,
them,
yeah.
we can do a panel and then that can still be just a bonus episode. So you can still use it for content. So that's
That's
another
great.
thing where I'm like, download the Clubhouse Girls changed because a lot of people started that with in COVID too, but it's changed a
Yeah.
lot now. So just wanted to throw that out there. um
Yeah.
and but
So
I
what
did
are your thoughts on submission since that's such a hot topic?
Woo.
You can give me a
We did
snippet.
have
You can
that
give me a snippet.
conversation. I said that I believe that, with me being married now, I've been married now for 6 years and I've been a stay-at-home mom for 5. And from the conversation and from just my life, I think submission means different things for different people. And
Yes.
it also has to do if you are healing and you have, some stuff that you may have overlooked. Again, finding the inner dialogue with our emotions to identify that, really give clarity in our wants and needs to who we want to give that gift to.
Mhm.
And depending on who we give that gift to, I don't think also I feel we don't really know how to be married until we are married. Like I didn't know
Correct.
what a marriage was until I got into the marriage, just like we don't know how to be like parents until you become a parent.
Mhm.
So, within my journey, I just think it means different things for different people. My idea of submission, my idea of submission, when I looked it up, I realized I had some misguided beliefs about what I thought submission was,
Mhm.
because that's really to like really relinquish a lot of control over to who you're married to. And I had a hard time with that. I really did. But when
Mhm.
I started to dissolve like some wounds, some inner wounds, I realized I trusted him to, temper me. Um, Because he is my safe space. He's never like, "You need to be obedient. You go wash the dishes," or you when they're that's abuse. When they're
Yeah.
abusing their, power and authority, that's like not but his foundation has always been, spirit led, and very Christ filled. So he's very gentle in his leadership. He's very authoritative in our plan, and he's
Mhm.
very supportive in mine. So I feel safe financially,
That's
physically,
a
emotionally.
good trilogy
Yeah,
right there.
yeah. So I was like, I submit to my man. He can
That's a
smack my
good
booty when I hand
trilogy.
him his tacos. Okay.
That's important.
Yeah, like
But,
yeah.
I think that's pretty valuable that you mentioned, these great aspects because I think it is different for different people. And I think what unfortunately podcasting is great and it's been such a explosive like a space for people to get their voices out there, but the danger of that is everybody kind of formulating a collective thinking where it's
Mm,
like what I say is what you have to do, or if it's
yeah.
not what I said, or if it's not I said it with so much you know oomph that
Yep.
it's fact. It's like, well,
Yeah.
no, that
Yeah.
wasn't a
Yeah.
fact.
Yeah, because sometimes, like, again, we're so full of the Holy Spirit that it may seem that authoritative may seem like that person knows what they're talking about, but just
Yeah,
I tell everyone, have your own discernment, and what is
please,
for you, and what is not,
please,
just leave it, just keep
please.
scrolling.
A lot of it should just be
Period.
viewed as entertainment, and that's
Yes.
just what it is. Just like you will watch a television show and you'll be like, "That's not real," but you kind of don't have that same mindset when you see real people speaking on
Yeah.
something, and you kinda interpret it a little differently. So I
Yeah.
feel like, submission is one of those things where, you should have discernment in who you give
Mm.
that gift to.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's a
Mhm.
gift. And so as long as that person is worthy of that gift, then I
Mm.
think that they should have it. And that's both
Yeah.
ways, men and
Yeah.
women.
Mhm.
You can submit in different ways to each other. But yeah, it's a hot topic because people
Yeah.
kind of overuse and conflate
And
the word and,
yeah, it
and make it seem
misconstrued
like it's
gender
such a
roles, and it's like you can
belittling
out
thing.
I was just listening
Yeah,
to that in totality. She was just talking about she had a guest on there, and I'll link his thing below because people need to go see that. He was saying how, a lot of people misconstrued like the gender roles, like a wife cooks and cleans and then the husband goes to work. And he's like, all that can be outsourced. Like y'all can make enough money where he can stop working and you can get a cook and maid, but you can't outsource. He said leadership, king, protector. I was like, say that. Because you
trust,
can't
all
like mine is
that.
like this is all my husband, like he's just like whatever you need, and I'm just like,
Yeah,
okay, I couldn't accept that in the past because it's about relinquishing control, and
it
that
is.
is hard for us to do when we, with my eldest son, he has a different father, and I was a single mom before I got married. So having that experience too of just like, no, I got it. No, and just being in that survival
Yeah,
mode, I wasn't allowing myself to accept that someone wanted to take care of me fully and that he got joy out of seeing me taken care of and happy. I was like, like I couldn't
yeah.
allow myself to trust that. But when I was like,
I've been
let me
there.
submit to this because God is
Mhm.
that's
Yeah,
submission. Let me submit. You want to take care of me. You like taking care of me. I like being taken care of.
yeah.
Let me submit to it. I've been calling on this. and
Exactly, you
and
asked
yeah.
for it, and it's a trauma response, you know? It
Yeah.
is such a trauma response to
Mhm.
operate in that space because a lot of times that stem from, and I can speak from personal experience, someone disappointing you when
Yeah.
you were younger. And now, so with that disappointment, you're trying to find ways to alleviate that or to prevent that from happening again. So you say, no, I'm going to do it because I can trust me to do it versus I'm relying on you to do something for me and I'm at risk for you disappointing me again. So
Mm.
that disappointment is just it hits harder
Yep.
than people think,
Yeah.
especially if
That's
it
what I mean,
happened
those
to you in your
overlooked wounds,
childhood.
because it seems so small, but it's that
Yeah.
overlooked and you're exactly right, I overlooked when I went back, I'm like, "Where did I get that? Why can't I trust this?" And I looked at all the
Hmm.
moments I wasn't safe as a child, and I was like, "Oh," or when I was,
Hmm.
supposed to be taken care of or someone was supposed to be, we have that's our job just as a parent, like, me being a parent, it's my job to protect them, to make them feel safe, for them
Yeah.
to, have emotions, to speak. Like I'm learning
Mhm.
all of that and what I didn't get as a child. And I have to now show up for myself in those ways. And that's why I needed to separate it. Even from my husband, I told him, I was like, I need my own room. I need to separate, from you. We still like
Mhm.
slept in the bed together, but I was like, I just need my own, like, and now we just say it's my content space slash prayer room. But like now
Yeah,
it's just like a woman, just because we have so much, um I feel like when we get together, there's so much collective wisdom because
yeah,
especially when we start trying to find the language for emotions instead of just like a man's like logical, like, no, you're just sad. No, you're angry.
yeah,
Instead of the why are you sad? Why are you angry? What happened to you? We talk a lot when
yeah,
we get together. So that was I think that's definitely needed. It just sucks that I had to do well, it doesn't suck because it's making me who I always should have been, who I am believing I am. But just accepting, just full circle, just
mhm,
accepting the safety that you are, your environment as your environments change. Because when you go on a healing journey and you start seeking these things, he'll weed out things. You'll start losing things. You
mhm,
might have to move to another state. So all of
yeah,
that comes about in this journey. And I tell people, like, post your pain, like it'll come out where you need to be and who you need
mhm.
around you.
Yeah, for sure. Because
Mm,
that should change. If you have done a lot of inner work and you like true inner work and
yeah,
no longer like certain things that you used to like before, and you're surrounding yourself with people and places that
yeah.
are no longer serving you, you're gonna be stuck.
Mhm. Yeah.
And it's hard to kind of get out because people love familiar. I
Yes,
was
that's
talking to
right.
somebody the other day. I attempted to fast in January.
Yeah.
Well, I did fast. I fasted for 21 days from like sugar and alcohol,
Okay.
and things like that.
Good job.
And it was hard. It was
Yeah.
very, 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 especially when we come off the holidays, and that's where a
Mhm,
lot of
girl,
a
yeah,
lot of sugar, a
yeah, I
lot of
did the Daniel fast
alcohol.
one year. I was like, why did I decide to do this?"
Yeah.
Like,
But
yeah.
in that process, I got a lot of clarity. Towards the end, I found myself like, how, okay, if you go to a bar or if you go get something to eat and you normally get a cocktail, I found myself getting a like a mocktail just because I was like, okay, I'm getting a mocktail, but don't put any
Yeah.
liquor in it, whatever.
Yeah.
And I literally had a revelation in my car when I got back from the restaurant. I said, you know what? It's so crazy because it's really not necessarily the liquor. Now, if you're a complete alcoholic where you literally consume a lot
Yeah,
of
you need
alcohol,
it,
you
yeah.
your body is dependent on it.
Yeah.
But a lot of times the things that we do and the habits that we have, it's not necessarily that you miss it, you
Mm.
miss the routine.
Mm.
Right?
Mm.
So this was a revelation for me because I feel like even with me getting a mocktail, I didn't necessarily need the mocktail. It didn't taste that great, but I had a routine of when I would go out or go to a certain place. This is what I did. This is what
Uh-huh.
I got. And same thing with the smoker.
Yeah.
Hey, my routine is, hey, I wake up and this, before I go to bed, I do this. So when you don't have that routine, you have to find something to replace it or fill that void because that's when you end up relapsing. If you're an
Mhm.
alcoholic and you go walk by a bar on the way home, like that, your routine was to stop by there, and so you
Yeah.
just have to. So I thought that was pretty interesting for me because I understand that we're humans and a lot of times we're creatures of habit, and a lot of our vices come from our routines,
Ooh.
and it was
Say
crazy to
that.
me. It's just
Yes.
crazy to me. It could be a person, it could be a
Yes.
place, it could whatever it is.
It's
It's
easy to
it's
get
just routine.
distracted, to go back and get into those distractions. You're right, it's a routine. I didn't even think of it like that, but I was just having a conversation about that not too long ago, that when we stop doing our work or take a break, we need
Mhm,
to listen when we need to rest and be obedient to like
mhm,
what our body is saying we need at the time with the tools that we know. And if we need to learn some more, then to heal that, that's great. But sometimes when we go like back to work, and like if I were to go back to
mhm.
work now from what I've been doing, I would probably be like, okay, like survival mode all over again, which
Yeah.
I just broke out of. I've been stay at home now for, like I said, 5, almost 6 years, and I wouldn't know what to do, like, if I had to go back to work, and it's not that I would forget, it's just about getting the self-discipline back to really invest in myself and, really start working for myself because I had to break that routine, like, I gotta be there at 9, I gotta be there at 9, so that means I
Mhm.
gotta be there at 8:30, but now it's more like, "Okay, I gotta set the alarm at 8:30, I gotta wake up at 8:30 because I have to edit this, I have to, like, really be intentional
Mhm.
with what I've been calling on and what I really want this to be. I wanna host speaking panels, I want those are goals, and so, as I'm seeking it, God will just start like, "Nope, go here, walk into this room, nope, go meet this person,"
Yeah.
and so just start walking in
Yeah.
those rooms, girl, that's so I
Yeah.
love what you're saying about breaking your routines. Did that routine, do you think did what inspired you to go on that fast and try to break that
Mhm.
routine? What did you notice? Why did you notice that you needed to break those certain habits?
Mhm. Well, it was the holidays. Even during the
Right,
holidays,
after everybody yeah.
if you're Southern,
Yeah,
you got cakes and pies and
yeah,
cannolis and whatnot, and so that's really the northern part thing. But
yeah,
anyways, it's just all of that stuff, and I literally felt my body like feel so sluggish,
yeah.
and same thing, because of the weather. Everybody
Mm,
knows that seasonal depression is a thing. And
mhm.
when
Yeah.
you are in an environment where it's raining every day, it's cloudy, it's an overcast, you're not really getting direct sunlight, and then you're
Are you in
eating
Seattle?
poorly. No, I'm
Oh,
I'm
I was
in
like,
Georgia.
"Oh."
But it was one of those winters where it was
Oh, I was like,
cold and
"Oh,
it was,
yeah."
but it's worse for those people up there, especially
Yeah,
like Oregon, Seattle. Like I couldn't imagine. But
yeah.
but the point of that is even up there, with people who do suffer from seasonal depression, they go to therapy, and a lot of the therapy is to, like, light therapy, just to kind of substitute
Mm.
the light that they're missing, on a daily basis. And so, because humans, we really do need direct sunlight in
Yeah.
order to thrive. It's just kind of what happens. You get vitamins that way, your serotonin levels, all that is
Oh,
influenced by
I didn't even think
sunlight.
about
So,
that. Girl, teach us.
yeah.
I'm like, "Okay,"
So,
because
so,
it was a gloomy winter here too, it was just snowy, and I was like and now that the sun has been out, I feel so different, like I said, just I went outside and was like, "Let me business plan," like, so much was, like,
Mhm.
just b something about being in just nature and having that sun hit you, you're abs like, yes,
Yeah,
that
you feel
that I
inspired because
yeah.
that's again back to the cycle conversation. That's how it's designed. You know what I'm saying? When you're in the winter, you hibernate, you sleep, you rest,
Mm,
you allow things to, kind of take its time. Like it's not supposed to be a flourishing season. Nothing really
yeah.
flourishes in the winter. But then
Mm,
as soon as that sun comes out and the warm temperature warms up, you start to get inspired again. You start to, okay, what do I do next? What am I start planning for the rest of the year? And it's like a literal natural thing. And I think
mm,
that with this, I said I wanted to start the year off, fasting, because I wanted to kind of detox from all of the terrible eating I was doing, but then also to try to see things clearly to start the year. So it was extremely helpful, and I think honestly too, and I just encourage this for men as well, is to have episodes and periods where you practice discipline.
mm,
It's hard to do in a world that just constantly validates you and constantly, gives you those boost of, yes, you're great, you're awesome, you're this and that, and
mm,
and you're getting those hits of dopamine,
yeah.
on a continuous basis, to where you never really have to, like, if I have it available to me, I don't need to do it. You see what I'm saying? So, because if you
Mhm.
if you kind of live in a self-serving state, in an ego state, you're like, if it's available, I'm gonna take advantage of it, right?
Yes.
I'm gonna use it. I'm gonna eat
Yeah.
it. I'm gonna whatever. But if you just have pockets, and I would say just, and I'm practicing this now too, just pockets of where I'm starting to practice discipline. Like, hey, for 3 days, I'm not gonna eat this.
Mm,
For a week, I'm not gonna do, and just that way that you can feel like, okay, I do have some control,
mm,
even though something is in front of me. Because we can get real dangerous if we never have to do that. And even like, so, and again too, I think it's a spiritual thing, because if God sees fit to bless me with a lot of things, I would know how to handle it if I'm able to
Mm.
be disciplined in areas. But if I'm always like self-indulging and he
Yes.
blesses me with a whole lot, then I'm gonna
Yeah, it's like
be,
you
you
have
know
no
what I'm saying?
self-control, then we gonna be in front
Yeah.
of the people looking crazy. We got places to
Yeah,
go.
it's like,
Like,
whoa, she is wilding.
yeah.
She
Right.
is wilding.
Like,
So I
girl,
don't want to
calm
be
down.
that.
Right, like, the outings now, like, there I've joined so many Facebook groups to, network, and, there's, like, Black women meeting in KC. It's like a group that I was like, "I wanna
Mhm.
meet more Black women," like,
Mhm.
I want a lot of I just wanna create my circle, and, they, like, host events and do things, and I'm like, I gotta make that one day just to get out, and because I think the engagement is important as well in the healing, and it can look like networking, or it can look
Yeah.
like, just the like you were saying, self-discipline, and really, like, if you're an introvert, go towards that fear and try to really get out. And that's for me. Like, my friend even told me, she's like, I feel like you're comfortable in the house. And I was like, yeah, like, I'm not gonna deny that. And so when she pointed that out, I was like, okay, let me just try to maybe
Yeah,
step
yeah.
out a little.
That's
Um,
good.
Thank you. I love that you said so when you went on that journey to revamp yourself and your business, fasting and finding ways to control yourself. I just like to give the girlies like a list of what
Mhm.
resonates, and if it's for you, it's for you. If it's not, then utilize what you know. And spiritually, I know you said the fast, but is there anything else that you try to do to um help position you for where you want to go, your goals?
Yeah, so during COVID, I kind of grew more into, I guess they would call it like the new age kind of
Mhm.
like a spirituality where, whether it's metaphysical like crystals and things like that,
Yeah.
paying attention to the lunar cycles and things like that. I think over time I've kind of been done a job of blending my love of Christ, and as well as utilizing the things that He placed here on earth, natural elements, Ayurvedic, type of
Yeah.
approach, so that I'm not just fully. Um, I'm more
Yes,
well-rounded, right?
relevant.
So yeah, so like honestly, hey, today is gonna be a good day type of thing. Paying attention to how my body responds to the moon, paying
Mhm,
attention how my body responds to sunlight, paying attention, making sure I'm outside grounding, making sure that I am not holding on to and internalizing things that I
mhm,
have no control over, right? Because
mhm.
again, I utilize social media just like every other person,
Yeah.
majority, of the people.
Mhm.
But I think that, of course, with so much conversation and so much emotion and so many opinions, it can seep into your spirit,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
So if you weren't having a bad day, you just saw three different posts that, kind of did something to your soul, and you're
Yeah.
now you now
Yeah.
you're feeling about that, being mindful of the energy that I'm taking in,
Mhm.
songs that I'm singing. If it makes me feel sadder, then it's like, whoa, that's shifting, right? The energy that's shifting the space. Now I'm not perfect at it, don't get me wrong, I am
Yeah.
not a mystic type situation. However, I just want to be intentional, and I feel like, um, I've been blessed to, have a good relationship with God, and I'm learning and I'm developing that every day. But then I'm also kind of being open to the things that He has placed here to heal us too, because
Mhm.
we are doing a terrible job with,
Oh, ain't we
and
though? I mean, from
uh,
humanity to environmental, it's like we gotta tighten up
yes.
somewhere.
Yes, and we have to do a better job, and it's not easy to do,
Mhm.
but I just feel like just being intentional is a great first step. So that's all I
Yeah.
can do.
I love that, and that's, you know, that can help anyone. And I always like to share and advocate that, in your spiritual journey, whatever that looks like for you, and like you said, like finding different things that are placed in front of you that you feel are working in your
Mhm.
spirit and in your healing, then that's all that matters. Anybody
Mhm.
else's like opinion of what you shouldn't do, what you should do, there we are just here to give advice of what worked for us. And I always stress, I can't stress enough to just find your individual relationship with God, not you, but listeners
Yeah.
or whoever
Mhm.
wants to take
Everybody.
any of this. Yeah, everybody. Find your individual relationship with God, find your individual relationship with your spirit, become aligned with your external spaces and your internal spaces. What you're feeding your external spaces, what you're allowing to listen to in your external space, it feeds your internal space. And
Yeah.
it really does have a big impact on how your journey will turn out.
Yes,
So
that
that's
is
important to just be
very true.
mindful. Yeah, I love that. Outside of that, do you have any businesses with working with the girlies or
Mhm.
anything that you're creating in your other things that you're pouring out to us?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Eventually, so I've developed Lowlands Media, which is a media company essentially. I love to do photography, so I've been able to kind of grow in that space, find my
Mhm.
voice in that space too. The podcasting, of course, has been a great thing. I would love to eventually produce other shows,
Yeah.
and just grow more behind the scenes in podcasting. I also have a blog, prettysuited.com, where I offer a lot of information about how to, self-care, wellness, how to, look good at work on a
Yeah.
budget, just things like
Yes.
that. I plan to be more active on there. I was really active prior to last year, but I'm gonna get that back going.
Oh, girl, you got
Um,
it.
as well as thank you.
Like, you got all this. I'm like,
uh,
yes, I'm loving all
yes.
yes, do it all. We need it. There can never be enough of us, like, doing this
Yeah.
work because it's all different, in just different perspectives that we have, different lived
Mhm.
experiences, like, it's all we need it. We need it all. I need it. I'm like, "More of you."
Absolutely.
Everyone else.
I hope to, cultivate the environment that feels good, that, is purposeful, that's meaningful. I really just, am thrilled and like really passionate about us finding our way, finding our purpose, not just being, you know, products of our environment or products of what the media tells us we're supposed to do.
Yes.
Like literally, who are you? What do you enjoy doing? What do you care about? What can you pour into? Just finding your way and then making life purposeful. Like, when was the last time you laughed real hard? When was the last
Yeah.
time you felt secure or safe? When was the last time were surrounded by people who genuinely cared about you and didn't have an ulterior motive? When was the
Yeah.
last time you felt good at work?
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
think a lot of times we can focus on the negative things, what you should and shouldn't do, and this person did that, this sucks, and all that.
Yeah.
But, what is that really doing for the bigger picture? Are we able to change it? Are we able to make something better? Are we able to carve our own lane,
Mhm.
essentially? So just um yeah, who are you and
Yeah.
what are we doing? I think
Yeah,
I
that's
think that's
it.
kind of the biggest thing. And I really, really wish that we can all find that joy
Yeah.
and that purpose in our lives so that it can mean something
Mm,
versus us we're not just existing.
yes. Yeah, because that's what I call when, like you said, when we're just here to and start to feel like we're just existing, that stagnant feeling,
Mhm.
that it really there's so much to unpack with
Yeah,
like,
I saw it in
dang,
your face.
yeah,
You're
like,
like,
we'll
it's
go off
just
for
so
another
much.
yeah, because I
It's
felt that,
okay.
like, as you're talking, I'm like, "Yes, yes, yes,"
Yes,
because,
yes.
yeah, it's just that's what we feel in our spirit, our purpose is to help other women break that stagnation because we felt that ourselves, and
Mhm.
we've learned how to, cultivate all the things around us, even with sometimes some people aren't starting because 'cause they're like, "I don't have this equipment, I don't have
Yeah.
money to do this," and I'm like, with me, I didn't have money to do my meditation services, but I
Mhm.
went to parks, I posted on groups like, "Hey, meet me here," and started doing just put yourself out there and don't be scared to show
Mhm.
up as your full self, and if you're not able to show up as your full self, just showing up sometimes is enough,
That's
like,
the a
sometimes that's
big
just
first
yeah,
step is
yeah.
just showing up.
Big percent, right? 'Cause that's
And you
it,
don't
that's
have
I'm
to
like
necessarily be so out there initially.
yeah,
If you
yeah,
let's say if you ever wanted to be a painter or an artist of some sort, you picking up the brush to find out, okay, well, let me read a little bit about theory. Let me
yeah,
go to a class so they could teach me about how to blend this or something. Like that in itself is self-care because
yes,
now I'm putting forth effort to do something that does bring me joy versus trying to find an excuse as to why I can't do it. Because
yeah.
we can all find a million
Yeah.
excuses. The world gonna give you some
Found so many for
excuses.
28, 20 something years of my life. I can't because of
Exactly.
this. I can't because I'm a mom. Cause and I can't because I think I don't know enough. But there are so many resources, even with Eventbrite, the stuff that we're in this digital age that we just need to
Mhm,
utilize, like Coursera. That's where I got they have a lot of
mhm,
free classes on there where you can just learn a modality. Like if you're in this healing journey, if you want to, or if you want to learn herbalism or
mhm.
herbalism, herbalism, like we some dinosaurs. Um, squirrel. No, but learning. I got my positive psychology certificate on there, and that one,
Mhm.
I was blessed with like donations, and
That's
that it
great.
only cost like $99. So I went. I was like, let me just spend 5 months and learn. I want to really learn how to be. I'm already an optimistic person. How can I fine tune my optimism and offer
Mhm.
myself up to be that vessel for other people that are pessimists and feeling sad. So paintbrushing, they have a lot of art classes on there that I'm sure are free. They can be anywhere from free to hundreds of dollars to $20.
Mhm.
I saw some classes on there for $10, $15. The libraries, your local libraries host
Yes.
a lot of networking events to help you out in your passions and your purpose so you can find your own as well. You don't have to be necessarily like you know, a doctor or a
Mhm.
therapist or, like you can just show up as yourself and learn what individual gifts you have that God
Yeah.
placed in you, in your spirit. We're all different. Even if we're all doing the same thing, we do it differently. So,
Mhm.
yeah, it's an exciting journey. Um I thank you for continuing yours so that we could align and do this here because this conversation is going to help somebody, even if it's just one
Yes.
person. I mean, it helped me. I'm like, oh, girl, I got 3 pages of, I'm about to go journal right after. Every time I do a podcast, I tell my husband, I'm like, I need 30 more minutes afterward because I sit in here and I just
Yeah.
I turn off the light and I light my little incense and I'll journal. So I'm learning from everyone that comes on. So I want to
That's
thank you for being
wonderful.
here and showing up as your authentic self so I can learn from you. So I really appreciate
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate this time and I really appreciate this conversation. And you are definitely welcome on my podcast so we can hopefully
I have
continue
never
this
been a guest on someone,
conversation.
so that's gonna be exciting.
Yes, yes, I'd love
Yes.
to continue the conversation, but thank you so much for your time and all the good work that you're doing as
Thank
well.
you. Thank you. I appreciate you. I'll send you my number after this on the and so I can send you I already sent you the Clubhouse invite.
Mhm, yes.
So yeah, once follow on there. I definitely want to have you on a panel and I just built the Clubhouse, but I want to have more conversations like this with um a wider audience. I think I have like 23 people in that Clubhouse. So when they
Mhm.
show up, they'll start inviting people. Sometimes there's 8 to 18 people that'll come on and just, popcorn it and have everybody share their experience and be motivated or inspired by the conversation we had. Because that we need to have conversation more of this, out there.
Yes,
And so, great, like I said, way of networking and building. And yeah, so I'll see you soon, girl.
awesome. I'm gonna see you soon, and you take
Thank
care,
you.
okay?
Thank you. I just wanna, end this out with, this is Lauren from Pretty Suited Podcast. Thank you for joining us today. I will link all her information and more at the bottom. So if you want to connect and follow, like, subscribe to all of her networking base, please do. And
Yes, thank
I'll
you.
talk to you later, girl. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.